it's Isabella Jaii, and in today's video I am coming on my channel to do something that I didn't anticipate doing alone. I thought that maybe one day I'd be able to like do something like this and go off and do some interviews or something, but I never really thought about actually telling my story by myself in front of the camera, and I am so nervous. Like when I tell y'all I'm so nervous because this is about to be so different for me. Like even just starting my weight loss journey on this channel was a lot for me, and I did it because I really wanted to inspire women, and I knew God was telling me, I need you to do this. This is your testimony. This is what I want you to share with people. I want you to show them how you're doing it. And I took that and I ran with it, and God has been so good to me along this journey so far, like just amazing, and he's gonna continue to get greater and greater and greater. But with God telling me to tell my testimony, I only thought that he wanted me to just talk about, you know, am I losing weight, am I gaining weight? But that clearly wasn't God's plan based on this video and based on this series that I'm bringing to my channel, which as you guys can see by the title, this series that I'm bringing to my channel is called The Waitlist. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the waitlist. Let's talk about what the waitlist is actually going to be. So in today's video, I'm going to be starting a new series on my channel where I share my life experiences and I talk to you guys about relationships, friendships, just my everyday life and what it was like for me growing up overweight. And I wanted to call it The Waitlist because it kind of gave podcast vibes, not gonna lie, but I'm not gonna do this in a podcast form. I'm literally only gonna be doing this on my YouTube channel. But I wanted to call this segment The Waitlist because I carried so much weight, literally, figuratively, spiritually, throughout my life because of the way that I look. And honestly, I didn't just want it to be limited to just me, because I feel like so many of us have this weight and these things that we carry with us that mold us and shape us and have made us into the people that we are today. And so I really wanted to just allow myself to have this space and others that I may bring on my channel to just come on here and to talk about different topics that we've gone through and that I've gone through. And I'm overwhelmed, but also I feel a joy in my spirit right now because I don't know where this is about to go. I don't know what this is about. I don't know, but we're here and I'm super excited. So if you guys are interested in this series and what I'm about to talk about today, let's get into it. So today I wanted to kind of start off with the most obvious thing that I felt like made sense to start off with: growing up overweight. So honestly, growing up, I was always the big girl. For a while, I was the tallest person in my classes. From when I've gone to charter schools my entire life, and going to these charter schools, they weren't predominantly white, they were actually predominantly black. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed just growing up and stuff, but it was certain parts about childhood that I just did not enjoy. And more specifically, the parts about childhood that I just didn't enjoy, especially going to school, was the fact that I was not only one of the taller kids in the classroom, but I was the biggest kid in the classroom. And it was honestly very rare to see another big kid around me growing up. And so I feel like I just naturally, even without knowing, me being big wasn't a thing to me until I saw that there weren't other people like me. I guess it was just something that I just knew in the back of my mind, but it wasn't, again, it didn't bother me because my parents didn't say anything about it. I didn't have people at church saying things about it. Nobody was saying anything about it until I got to school and I started to kind of just continue to grow. And child, let me tell you. So I remember my first experiences with like realizing like, dang, like you bigger than the other kids was actually in 3rd grade. So like I feel like kids was already mean because like, I don't know, the kids was just mean. Like the kids was just being kids. You know, as a kid, you really don't have a filter. You kind of say whatever you want to say, and especially at school, like nobody's around. Like adults be there, but it's one adult to 25 kids. The adult's gonna go do what the adult's gonna do. The kids are gonna be the kids, and especially on the playground. So I just remember like hearing people say stuff about me, and like from a child, like I would see everybody, and I mean, we was so young. Like boyfriend and girlfriend was just so petty. It was just such a petty thing, but it was just like, it was a big deal to me because I'm like, I had crushes and all of that, but I just could tell that even with my crushes, like I was just like, oh my gosh, like no, I'm shy. And I just remember this one girl talking to this guy, and she just said something about me. Like she made a comment about my weight, like, oh, something, Isabella girl, just something about my weight. And I really, honestly, the comment was very inappropriate, so I will not be saying that comment, but it was just something about, yeah, and Isabella gonna do this. And I said, Isabella gonna do what? Isabella gonna do who? Oh, no ma'am. So I just remember like that was like probably my first instance where I was like, oh, you bigger than the other kids. They notice it, they looking at you. And then more specifically, I feel like the second encounter that I knew where like I was overweight was in 4th grade. So in 4th grade, I had started getting a little bit bigger, a lot bit bigger actually. And I remember wearing like my older sister's clothes. And you know, wearing her clothes to me was cool. I'm like, oh, I get to wear her jeans. Like her jeans is cute, right? Right. You would think. But my sister, she was older, and actually at this time I had went to try I tried out for like the basketball team, and though I'm not really that good at it, though I like to tell people I am, just because I feel like on a good day I'm good, but on a bad day I'm clearly bad. I like went to try out, and I remember we were all in like the locker room together, and the girls were like getting dressed, and they were, you know, putting on their clothes, and everybody was putting all their stuff and all their gear, and I'm like, yeah, you know, and I'm changing. And I pulled out them shorts. What I tell y'all, I pulled these shorts out. Them shorts was like these. And the girl next to me said, dang, them shorts big. And I said, well, I knew that, but they fit me. You know, and so I quickly told her, I said, oh, these my sister shorts. Like, we get it, you know? And it was just like, it was those moments where I started to like kind of feel myself crumble. And it was to the point to where like, I literally remember the day where I put on some size 14 jeans. Like, no lie. I remember the day I put on size 14 jeans. I believe this was the last day of my 4th grade school year. And I put on them size 14 jeans, and I just started to become more mindful of like my body image. And I just started to really just pay attention to stuff that I never thought mattered. And so fast forward, you know, we going into 5th grade. So I actually moved from the first school that I was at, and I went to my second school, which then became my middle school. And I remember going to that school, and child, I was even bigger at that point. I mean, it was a never ending incline. Like, it was just like, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I would have hoped at a point that my weight would have gone down naturally, but it just did not. And so, you know, going from one school to another, I was especially nervous because I'm like, I already got friends at this school. They already, like, I grew up with them. And the friends that I did have, they didn't really like make fun of me for it. I mean, it was like, they were just my friends. And then like, you know, they were cool. Like, it didn't really matter. But going into a new school, I knew as soon as I came in there they was gonna say something, because I'm like, if the other kids are saying something and they know me, these kids that don't know me are definitely gonna say something. So I get to this new school and I go there, and first of all, I switched schools at the beginning of 5th grade. So I went to my school for like 4 or 5 days. No, I think it was like 3 or 4 days, and then I literally transferred to a whole different school, and I was so anxious. And I remember just going in there, and I had on this big white button up, and I walked through that classroom, and I just remember everybody looking at me like, and though they might have been looking at me because I was the new kid, I feel like they was looking at me because I was the big new kid. And that was just the start of it right there. That was the start of it. That was the start of it, where I was just like, oh my gosh, everyone hates me. And it was just bad from there. And I just remember like being in school and like, you know, making jokes and being funny and all of that. Like that was the thing. But I just remember every time somebody made a joke about me, it was always about my weight. And it was like, dang, like this the one thing that I'm like the most insecure about. Like, y'all hit me to my core. But on the outside, I tried not to show it. So because this was my thing and I had seen it when I was younger, and being at my first school and then transitioning to my second school, it was like, okay, this is a thing. People are going to talk about this. What do we do to like kind of counteract the situation? Like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So my thing was, well, you're gonna talk about me, you're gonna talk about my weight, I'm gonna act like it doesn't matter. That was for one. So I ended up developing this like hard exterior where I just kind of had to become numb to like the overweight comments and numb to like just how I knew people were gonna perceive me. And I just started to become like this really mean person. And though I'm like a very friendly and like outgoing and like super nice person, when it came down to it, when you was getting it going, I'm like, oh, we gonna cut deep. We're gonna get you where it hurts. Because everybody was getting me where it hurt me. And I'm just like, y'all are so mean. But if y'all was gonna be mean to me, I felt like I had to be mean too. And so y'all, I remember being in this one situation where like me and this boy was going back and forth, and he told me, he said, you built like a washing machine. Or he said like, you look like a washing machine or something. And I said, and I just, it was moments like those that I feel like set me up for life. Like, I was like, dang, like, not you going on me like this. And I can't tell you what I said because those things are behind me. I don't know what I said to him. I don't know what I did to him, because even at that time, play fighting was a thing. But I feel like, honestly, when I was play fighting, I don't think I was really playing. I think I was really trying to beat people up because it just was a lot for me to take in, and especially being so young. Like, again, I felt so alienated just being the bigger one, and especially at this school, I think I was definitely the biggest one. And then the other kids that were bigger, they still weren't as big as I was, and it just really felt bad. And outside of what people were saying about me, or like what they thought or whatever, it was even worse when like people were getting into relationships. When they were getting into the petty little middle school relationships, I kind of felt like nobody wanted me. Like, I was just like, oh well, dang, like they're not gonna want to be with me, like, because I'm big. And then it kind of showed too, because I started to kind of come out of my shell and stuff. Like, at first I was a little bit shy and timid coming to the school, but then like, you know, you get to know people kind of, they get over it or whatever. Like, I ended up noticing that my weight was like taking a huge toll on me when it started to come to like, oh, I like this person, I like this person. And I just saw like the guys that I liked, like they didn't like me. Like, they weren't like, oh my gosh, like, what's your name, girl? Be my girlfriend. And I'm like, but I want you to be my boyfriend. And none of them was doing that. None of them were saying that. Like, they would be like, yo, what's up with your friend? And I would be like, my friend? What about me? And that's how I felt on the inside. But because, again, like, I developed like this hard exterior, I just kind of, I brushed it off a little bit, and I was just like, all right, whatever, like, we're just gonna ignore it, press pause. And so what I ended up doing, instead of like, you know, spilling all the beans and be like, oh my gosh, I like you, which I did that with a couple of dudes, God bless, they never watched these videos, but yeah, like, I did that with a couple of guys, but it just wasn't something that was like at the forefront of my mind. Like, it was never like, oh, skip them, be with me. It was like, all the boys are not afraid to talk to me. I'm gonna get really cool with the boys, and I'm gonna get really cool with the girls, and I'm gonna just know everybody's business, because don't nobody want to be my business. So that's a whole different story. But that was the thing, like, I was like, oh, like, okay, let me be cool with the guys. So literally I started to be like the middleman, and because I couldn't experience relationships and stuff, like, I felt like, oh, I'm about to put this person with this person, and I'm gonna be the mediator for this relationship, and I'm gonna just do this and I'm gonna do that. And I just found myself in like this weird space, because I even had started to kind of put the person that I would like with somebody that I'm like super close with, like one of my girlfriends, and like they'd get together and I'm like, dang, I liked him. But I'm gonna let them be together though, because he don't like me. And I think now in my adult life, like, I be thinking back on that stuff like, dang, like, Isabella, you was really doing stuff because you felt so low about yourself, and like you felt so small, and like I felt like people were making me feel small, so I felt like I had to be small and just think low about myself and just count myself out. And so like when the first guy that I did talk to approached me, I was like, and I'm gonna say it like this, for one, the first guy that I did talk to, I wasn't even necessarily like attracted to him at first. Like, it was kind of just like he came up to me and I was kind of shocked, because nobody had ever said or expressed interest like, oh, hey girl, what's up? So when he came up to me, first of all, I'm gonna give him his props. He came up to me in person. He said, what's your number? I said, number? I don't get it out. And my best friend at the time was with me, and she was like, girl, you gotta give him your number. I said, number? I'm like, I'll give him my number. But I definitely want to get into this specific topic in another video. But I just remember that, and I remember like being shook when like somebody actually did express interest, and they were like, oh, like, hey, yo, what's up? I want to talk to you. So I'm like, oh shoot, like, that's crazy. So I just know that like from those experiences, like growing up, even like with drama and stuff, like I can kind of steer into drama, like with drama and stuff that would go on when people was talking about me. The one thing that I heard, or if I found out somebody was talking about me, the first thing I would hear is, oh, she the big girl. Like I've literally had somebody walk up to me and they told me like, oh, such and such introduced you, and they said, oh, that's Isabella, she the big girl who thinks she all that. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like I don't think I'm all that, because especially not at that time, child, I didn't really think I was all that at all. But I guess because on the outside I had this exterior where I seemed like I didn't care, I seemed like it just was nothing, I looked like I was moving with confidence, and I'm like, in reality I feel like this because I didn't feel good about myself, especially because I was big. So it was just like those instances that really let me know like how people felt about me, and then kind of just shaped how I felt about me. And also, I actually want to mention this. I would always hear, oh my gosh, Isabella, you know, she's not ugly, but you know, if she lose some weight, like when she lose weight, yeah, she gonna be that one. And it's like, imagine hearing that when you like 11, 12 years old. And so for me, growing up, I had an idea in my mind that the day that I lose weight, I'm gonna be that one. I'm gonna be desirable to men. I'm gonna have friends that actually want to be my friend. I'm not gonna be written off so easily. People aren't gonna treat me different. People aren't gonna talk bad about me. Like I literally had this idea in my mind that when I become smaller, I'm gonna be more likable. And I carried that my entire life, and even now sometimes I still kind of feel like that. Whew, please Jesus, I don't want to get emotional. I carried that weight, that like the day that I finally reached my goal, the guys that I wanted before will want me. And I remember even thinking that like, no, I'm not gonna talk to them. Like if they try to talk to me, like I'm not gonna talk to them. And I even remember just thinking about like friends and stuff, like how I allowed people to treat me, and like people literally wrote me off, like, oh, I'm not messing with her, like she not my type of friend, like won't talk to her type stuff. And then people get to know me and they like, yo, like I love you, bro, like you're such a good person. And I just still, like to this day, when I go into friendships, when I go into relationships, when I step out into the world, I have that line in my mind, like, you're the big one. When you walk in this room, people are gonna see you because you're big. People are gonna look at you differently because you're big. And though like on social media or whatever, it's acceptable and it's becoming more socially acceptable, in real life it's still kind of not. And I still kind of carry that weight of like, man, people treat me differently because I am overweight. And a lot of the things that I've experienced, a lot of the things that I like would literally just hear have literally, they shaped my mindset, and it's made it a little bit harder for me as an adult. But I think the one thing that I love now is just how God has been changing me, and he's been changing my mind from like who I was then and who I am now. When I was younger, I became this hard person. I became this numb person. I became this like person that felt like I couldn't be expressive. I couldn't tell people how I felt because they didn't care. They were only nice to you if they were attracted to you, and people just, if they didn't want you around them, like they're gonna write you off. People are gonna talk about you behind your back and be like, oh, she big, oh, she fat, oh, she this, she that. And like I always had this thing in my mind, but God is like renewing me and letting me know like that's not how I feel about you. Though that's how they feel about you, that's not how I feel about you. And I feel like in my adult life, when I think about this weight loss journey, and when I think about like having to go public with it, and God wanted me to like, you know, show people the journey, but he also wanted to do like this great work on the inside of me that I didn't even anticipate, because all I was so focused on at the beginning was, God, I'm over 400 pounds. God, what are people gonna think about me? God, like the people from high school already saw me over 300 pounds. God, I grew up my entire life over 300 pounds. God, you saw me when I was struggling, trying to be this different person to get people to like me. How am I gonna go up and to tell people I gained so much weight that I don't even recognize myself? Jesus. And God told me he wanted me to do it anyway. Oh my gosh, I hate crying on the internet. Child, I told myself I wasn't crying on the internet anymore. I said, we're done. We're done. Whew, okay. God was letting me know he wanted me to do it anyway. He wanted me to share anyway. And I fought God for years about it. I knew I wanted to do my YouTube channel in high school. Matter of fact, middle school for real. And going into high school, I wanted to do Vine. I wanted to do YouTube. I wanted to honestly be like the Instagram girls. And to this day, I still fight the urge to be like the Instagram girls and to post cute pictures and to want people to like me because of what I look like and to treat me nice because of what I look like. But that's not my story. And I wanted to share just a little bit, and it'll be so much more to come in the videos to come about just what it was like for me and the weight that I held with people's perceptions of me, with people pleasing, with relationships and how I allow people to treat me. And I ain't even, you know, we'll get into that. But just so many different things have happened and were said, and I couldn't even get into everything right here right now. But I just want to, for one, give all glory to God, because the person that y'all see today, this person that I am, is not somebody that anybody knows. I don't even know her sometimes. Like, I'm discovering this new version of myself, like the confidence that I have now, the way that I walk, the way that I talk, how I dress people, just who I am, how I move. Like, I'm so different from who I was growing up because God is changing me. I love to be expressive now. Like, I'm more open. I'm still a little closed off. Some of my friends will say that, like, I don't know this about you and you ain't told me this and you ain't told me that. I get it. But I think it's just so much has happened and so many things have just gone on in my life that have, you know, made me become this very reserved person and made me feel like, well, if I share this part of myself, people will just use that against me and they'll just talk about me and they'll treat me bad and they'll tell their friends about me and, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get exposed because I like so and so. Like, all of that, God is like, yeah, that's gone away. Like, who I am today is nowhere near a reflection of who I was, like, even in high school. Shoot, even a year ago, even 4 years ago, when I first started this journey, child, the person that I am today, if y'all been watching me for that long, y'all real, because I've changed so much. And I literally just want to give all glory to God for that, because if it was not for God changing me and doing this work inside of me throughout this journey, this tough journey that I'm still on to this day, then I just don't know, like, who I'd be. But that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below if you guys enjoyed this video, because I'm so excited to, like, start this series and to open up more, because I'm definitely gonna have, like, more growing up overweight, like more actual topics to kind of really dig deep and dive deeper into what it was like growing up for me overweight, because it was so much that I wanted to say but that I just couldn't say in this video. But I'm really excited. I'm really overjoyed, and I pray that this blesses somebody. I pray that, you know, whatever it is that's supposed to happen with this series happens and that God gets all the glory, because that's the only thing that's gonna happen here. Make sure to follow me on Instagram if you don't already. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and turn on the post notification bell so you guys know when I'm posting these videos. And I'm gonna see y'all in my next video. Bye.